GDP. It is very heartening and encouraging. If we say it's contributing 9.2% to the GDP, so you can understand the kind of past few days. So, but then we, as experienced people, all know that it will all come back. It's just a little pause that we are into, a kind of a sabbatical that I have always been talking about. Mr. Vinod Zucchi, who is the former Secretary Tourism, Government of India, Mr. Rajiv Mehra, the and give them a chance to keep their points and share their views with us. But for now, let me welcome all the panelists, and we've got a lovely panel, and I think that. But we reinvented ourselves. It will be much bigger a canvas to rewrite our fortunes. disciplined. We may not have been so financially disciplined before. Now, being in the industry myself for last on this point that all of us will remain happy to inform all the viewers today and probably my panelists know about travel scene in India. So now, of course, when let Mr. Meshram join, so we are still probably waiting for him. But in the meantime, may I take this opportunity to introduce our panelists. Heritage Walk way back in 1998, which has now become an integral part of most of the foreign tourist arrivals, the domestic tourist arrivals. For the state of UP, Agra is the epicenter. So may I now request Rajiv Saxena to kindly unmute himself and give his remarks.
Me again, and then ready to be harnessed. There is talk of revenge tourism. There is talk of all kind of tourism. Cruise tourism has already started. I've been told that all the cruise ships of the world are fully sold out. Beyond the immediate, priority of mitigating the threat and impact of pandemic, we'll all need to that is not going to take so long if tourism. But we have, in our endeavor to make offers of easy, enjoyable, accessible, and simple tourism, we are facing challenges, and that's what makes us relevant. Challenges of safety nowadays, which we have never bothered actually. Challenges or I can give you an example. Including Saturday, but closed on Friday and Sunday. And all this what time, whether ticket window is available or not. I get 200 calls every day. How can I buy ticket of the Taj Mahal because windows are closed? Somebody asked me there are 2 slots available. Should I buy first slot or second? To offer and would keep people away from hustle and bustle of the cities. That would all this would keep us relevant and would make us remain in business for a long time. Also, at the same time, to make us relevant, we will need to be offering zero cancellation, perhaps consultant. We are praying to be need that how we would be able to help them create memories. So they would definitely be conscious whether they're going to be in an area, would that area offer them a bio bubble or not? Or all the people who are involved in tourism activity are going to be vaccinated. Do not remember all the time that we have gone through bad.
There's a point that there is a very hairline kind of a difference between the new normal and the abnormal. So we have to sort of take care of that when we are venturing into this thing. But continuing with this, Mr. Rajiv Saxena, I have a question as an operator
dropping overnight stay has been alarming. Thousand tourists would visit the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal drives the tourism of subcontinent. People are is still coming. I think 95 or 96% tourists is still like to come to the Taj Mahal. So it them into the organized sector. And
Thank you, Rajiv. Now I come to Peter Rees Jones, who we of course, being an Indian side, we have one perspective of things to bank on that the tourist will come. He has been interested in India and intrigued by the stories of India told to him by his father. UK Limited is India's specialist tour operator, which has created for their clients request Peter to kindly unmute yourself, and rest of the panelists can mute themselves and give your initial.
Thank you very much, Pratik. few different things, one of which primarily probably is the Taj Mahal. And of course, tigers. That's the other thing people always want to see. Um, Older people may know a bit more about the joint history, British and India, from the old days, and they want to come and see places related to that. Jaipur back to Delhi. And this is go down to the Taj, and as we called it, turn left at the Taj, not right, and go into UP instead. And that tour we developed a few years ago, and we are still selling it. And it visits all the places along there. The new express those places are known to people overseas. This goes back to the dedicated tour operator travel agent. But our promotional budget is limited. When you consider us in terms of, or against UP or India government, we spend peanuts. To major cities where we can get maximum impact. will sort of support us. I mean, Mr. Modi, I think, said earlier this week that priority is going to be given to support and funding for tourism because he recognises it as a major income earner for India, which it is, of course. I think I'm correct in saying Hindi. We just we don't know it. We have no way of learning it. Varanasi, which I think many people overseas know about Varanasi. Lucknow itself has its own attractions. I mean, I love Lucknow personally. It's one of my favourite places. But I mean, that's got. But if you don't tell people about it, people just don't know. We don't learn. So I don't know more than that. Probably.
Thank you, Peter. Very important points, and this point about English going into social media is very, very important. I agree with your point, and we'll take up this issue for sure, and you will see that.
Oh yes, very definitely. We were talking to a family last evening. To enjoy, I don't think, because not everyone can afford it. now where we had tours organized for them pre-pandemic. They couldn't travel, so they're now just waiting for the time when they can. So of course we have to, India has to come off the red list for us. We've got to come off the red list for India, so that we can, we can exchange.
Very reassuring. It's just a matter of little more patience and probably things will start looking up. So thank University and earned a diploma in travel and tourism from Mumbai, is the director of New Airways Travel and has received many awards and recognitions, including Woman of Substance Leadership Award.
All odds and challenges, government has managed to not only reduce the spread of pandemic in the state so well, but parallelly worked and promoted tourism magnificently. Be it construction of the Ram Mandir, redevelopment of Kashi Vishwanath temple, this is just not possible. As the topic says, that are travel agents and tour operators relevant? I think they are very, very relevant. As we all know, before COVID-19, travel and tourism had become one of the most important sectors in the world economy. accounting for nearly 10% of global GDP and more than 320 million jobs worldwide, which Prateek did say. And international tourist attractions and can offer itineraries and tours upon a client's arrival. Uh, and I'm mentioning this because a travel agent is not just to book tickets, which the OTA does actually, and prepare itineraries. About this. Travel agents post pandemic will be more like a travel ambassador for not only their own people, but for states and countries. And I'm saying this specifically because I think Indian states need to work much more with, and apart from this, and yes, it definitely will. And as an apex body of travel agents, we have a larger role to play as the aviation sector. And that's another aspect that the travel agents need to always be into to be more relevant. crisis does bring opportunities, and there are loads of them there. The travel agents will also be grabbing those. And what Charles said was, it is not
how your members are kind of, these are very difficult times. So how are they managing it, and how they intend to be more kind of sustained till this pandemic lull goes on? And of course, you are training them on
so promoting domestic travel would be the, I think, the biggest sustainable model, pushing for the digital transition. The world of a travel agent, which somehow dilutes your importance, your self-respect, and your self to the profession, respect to the profession is what really matters. And new things that are going to be coming out very strongly is marketing on social media. And lastly, what I say is that industry status, to be able to become more effective, standardized, and like our honorary Prime Minister always says, Atmanirbhar.
indeed motivational. It is indeed motivational, and I must tell you that there are 3,291 Mr. Mehra was the vice president of IATO, and earlier than that, he served on it. So he has a vast experience in IATO as an association itself. Having graduated in economics honors from the Delhi University, Mr. Mehra has 43 years of vast experience in tourism industry and is a recipient of National Tourism. So you have to unmute your mic, please.
Thank you very much, Pradeep. It is good to be here today. Good afternoon, dear panelists and participants at the webinar. First of all, congratulations to FICCI to organizing this meaningful platform for a state that is rich in culture, heritage, and religious aspects of tourism. Meet, greet at the airport, surface transport, in the hotel and sightseeing place that the tourists alone may not be able to garner. And further the relevance of a tour operator. The test that is brought in by a tour operator completes the context of discussion, starting with the meet and greet at the airport to the send-off of the tour operator, and the personnel are there to ensure that the tourists are taken care as promised, sanitizing, providing masks, guiding on maintenance of social distance. All aspects are taken on a one-to-one basis. As a finale to the point of relevance, then are not far to seek. Tour operators response confidence among tourists by emphasizing the notion of hygiene and safety. They bring stakeholders and the government together. Our vibrant Uttar Pradesh is all set to go levels up in realm of tourism. The opportunities in all the facts just mentioned advocate the efficiency of tour operators who go on to be the catalyst of the relevance. The very important point to go to Prayagraj or go to Haridwar. We will not. And unless until he wants to go to those places only for those pilgrimage purposes. So we are all geared up. We all have our chapters who give us information. We have the state governments who keep us giving us this kind of information, which is very important. And I think without a travel agent or a tour operator, it will not be easy for people to travel, especially on what's going on and what is not going on.
Airlines, hotels, everybody. So your tour operators, per se, inbound tour operators, whose businesses have been drastically affected, and probably there's zero billing for almost most of them, what I believe. So, in such circumstances, how
between 1 April and 31st of July this year. And surprisingly, 50% are from the state of Uttar Pradesh. That is the point, so that I think Uttar Pradesh tour operators are doing well. Well, our members seek reinvent structure, reboot, reset themselves, and unleash travel. And the government of India has already advised that the RT-PCR should be done away for those who got double dose. So that will, I think, will happen by the end of this month. Things would be much more clear to us. Thank you, Pratik.
Thank you, Mr. Mehra. This is quite Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very privileged to be introducing you to Mr. Vinod Zutshi. Tourism, Civil Aviation, and was also CMD of Rajasthan Tourism Development Corporation. Mr. Vinod Zutshi is also a great travel and tourism. After his retirement from the services, I think Mr. Zutshi's life remarks on the subject.
Thank you, Mr. Pratik Hira. Well, esteemed speakers of today's webinar, listeners and viewers, agents immediately before COVID struck. Secondly, what changes have COVID brought to the relevance of travel trade? And thirdly, how should tour operators and travel agents be tourism ready in the new normal? Now, coming to the first issue, in the pre-COVID times, friends, the digital transformation of tourism sector started transforming the traveler's behavior. The advent of smartphones, the digital human touch required and this human touch, friends, can be best provided by tour operators and travel agents. Brings me to the third issue, how tour operators and agents can be tourism ready to discharge their changed role in the new normal. Latest requirements and fourthly, they must factor the changed behavior of traveler in their redesigned business models and marketing. I would like to give some examples as to how these changes in the business models. I mean, we have to 36 days in the pre-COVID time. Then shorter hauls are preferred by consumers. The tour packages involving rental cars, weekend tourism, preferences to resorts once the international travel starts. So a complete one single window system has to be brought in so that, and the trust factor is very important. So with or abroad and they go out. adopting technology in their businesses. I wish to tell my friends, tour operator friends and travel agents friends that travel trade is the backbone and the steel frame of travel and tourism sector in India, and it will always remain so. And I can say with the confidence that it is not only going to restore the indispensability of tour operators and the travel agents, it will further heighten their importance and relevance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zuchi. These were very crisp and pinpointed kind of points that all tour operators of India. What is that, or what are those things that you would do so that these points benefit the
because instead of telling on other platform indirectly, I have an opportunity to tell it directly. So many things, Mr. Pratik, some few things have already been done. They're in the pipeline, but one is getting restless about few things. If that, my first priority would be to see that the National Tourism Task Force, which was constituted, to provide some kind of these are the long-term stimulus packages which need to be addressed. And so my first attempt would be to see that the task force gives this recommendation and we see that the recommendations are also met with. Secondly, as I was mentioning just now, Government of India, Ministry of schemes where interest subventions are given. Now the idea basically is not to get the money. The idea is to get money at low interest. Now, what Ministry of Tourism, by one of its schemes, could think of is that whatever the banks, at whatever rate of interest they are offering the loan or liquidity, maybe for 3 years, for rule changed, where the lockdown is happening, where the lockdown has been unlocked. What is it? On commercial lines. We've had successful air bubble arrangements. We've had successful domestic air traveling during the second wave as well. So it's time that we must convert this air bubble arrangement into
And each of the panelists shared their thoughts on the subject today, which I'm sure tourism for his continued guardianship for the tourism industry. And thank you to you, Mr. Vinod Zucchi. Your words are no less than inspiration at all forums. And having been working under your guidance when you were Secretary Tourism, Government of India, and now so closely and all the things that you mentioned that people are waiting reflective of this sentiments. Thank you for sharing your candid thoughts and being with us on this panel today. I also thank Mr. Avinash Chandra Misra, Joint Director, UP Tourism, Government of UP, who has been instrumental in making us of time and who were watching us on the platforms which included WebEx. Thank you, everyone.